In March of 2022, YouTubers Meg and Chris uploaded a new video to their channel, Back in Time MC. In the video, they explored what looked to be an abandoned farmhouse somewhere in the UK. At first, it seemed like a pretty standard urban exploration video, but before long, they came across something they'd never expected. According to the video, they got inside through an open window around the side of the building. As soon as they stepped inside, it was obvious the farmhouse had been left empty for years. Leaves covered the floors, cobwebs filled almost every room, and old shoes and other belongings were still lying there where they'd been left. They also came across a couple dead animals inside the house, along with a few shotgun shells sitting on a bedside table. Even though the house looked abandoned, there were a few signs that somebody might have been there more recently. One of the light bulbs upstairs looked fairly new, and some of the clothes hanging in the wardrobe didn't seem that old either. Looking around the house, Meg and Chris also found family photos on shelves and walls, suggesting that a family with at least 4 children had once lived there. After looking through a few more rooms, they headed upstairs. At one point, Chris walked inside one of the bedrooms, without noticing anything unusual. But a few seconds later, Meg walked in behind him and accidentally made some noise. That's when they realised they weren't alone.
Little table there with a few bits. Loving that wardrobe.
I'll just leave him for you. Can I help you?
Oh my god, fucking hell!
Oh
You're alive!
You are?
Fucking hell, man.
You live in here, you can't live in here. Yeah?
No!
You can't live in here. Yeah.
Holy shit, are you okay?
Yeah, thank you.
We thought
How
that
did you get in?
there's a window that's open downstairs.
Window open? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an open window. What we do,
We do
take
videos on.
pictures of like old farmhouses because we're really interested in it. You haven't?
Oh Jesus Christ!
I haven't got anybody.
You scared the life out of him. You literally scared the life out of him,
What
man.
do you think we can do to help you?
Where are you from?
We live in Northamptonshire.
Hamptonshire.
I don't know whether you can help me or not. But I've not got any kids and not got any
Whose
grandkids.
farm's this then?
The sudden shock scared both of them, and understandably so. They blurred the woman's face in the video to protect her privacy, but after the initial surprise, they started talking to her instead of leaving. She introduced herself as Jane and explained that she had been living in the farmhouse for around 30 years. She also mentioned to them that she didn't have any family who could take her somewhere else to live. Feeling sorry for her, Meg and Chris offered to come back with food, clean clothes, and fresh bedding. But sadly, Jane wasn't very interested in accepting any help. She said she was happy enough where she was and explained that the men working on the nearby farm already brought her food and water every day. By the end of the visit, what had started as a creepy discovery had turned into a surprisingly emotional conversation. Before leaving, Meg and Chris promised they'd come back and visit her again. But after uploading the video, Chris decided to find out more about Jane and the farmhouse. After doing some more research, he managed to identify the farm, and not long afterwards, someone got in touch claiming they knew the farmer personally. According to them, Jane wasn't actually living there alone. They claimed the farmer also lived in the property and Jane was well looked after, and that her husband regularly checked up on her even though she usually refused help. The same person also mentioned that Jane had a brother who tried to look after her, which didn't match what she'd told Meg and Chris during their visit. Not knowing who was telling the truth, Chris carried on investigating. While searching public records, he discovered another property that had been owned by Jane between 1986 and 2015. When he decided to visit it, he found it was in similar state to the farmhouse. Because of the conflicting information, Chris decided to contact Adult Social Services. After receiving a response from them, he also passed on a message saying that he and Meg would happily come back to visit Jane whenever she wanted. Unfortunately, that's where the story ends. No more updates were ever shared, so nobody really knows what happened to Jane after all of it. Hopefully, wherever she is today, she eventually accepted some support and was able to spend the rest of her life somewhere much more safer and more comfortable than the farmhouse where Meg and Chris found her. Urban exploration isn't exactly known for being safe, but some explorers take it much further than others. One of the best known channels in the community is Urbex Hill, where YouTuber Chris Hill documents his visits to abandoned buildings across the United States. While plenty of creators explore forgotten places during the day, Chris is known for doing the exact opposite, regularly entering some of the country's most dangerous abandoned locations alone and usually in the middle of the night.
Those are gunshots.
Gunshots outside.
His videos have taken him through everything from abandoned psychiatric hospitals to old military sites, but one particular exploration from early 2023 stands out for a very different reason. In January of that year, Chris uploaded a video showing his return to the abandoned Paul Revere Elementary School in Cleveland, Ohio. The school had been open for almost 100 years before eventually shutting its doors in 2015 due to failing student numbers. The condition of the building was immediately obvious. Large sections of the lower floor were flooded, and rust covered many of the metal surfaces. Books, papers, and broken furniture were scattered throughout the classrooms, while parts of the building looked structurally unsafe after years of neglect. Even though the school had clearly been abandoned for years, Chris noticed signs that people had been inside much more recently. Fresh-looking writing covered several of the classroom whiteboards, suggesting the building was still seeing regular visitors. Roughly 10 minutes into the exploration, strange noises began echoing through the hallways. At first, it sounded like something was moving around somewhere deep inside the building. Although it wasn't immediately clear what was making the noise, a few moments later, he got his answer.
What is that? Oh shit. Do you hear that? Oh shit. Somebody's here.
As Chris looked down one of the corridors, another flashlight suddenly appeared in the distance. Whoever it belonged to seemed to be alone, and it was probably either another urban explorer or someone living inside the building. But at around 1 o'clock in the morning, inside an abandoned school, there was no way of knowing their intentions. Rather than announcing himself, Chris quietly backed away and headed in the opposite direction, choosing to avoid any unnecessary confrontation. After putting some distance between himself and the unknown person, he continued exploring the upper floors before eventually making his way into one of the bathrooms. This is where things became much more unsettling for Chris.
Oh shit! Oh fuck! Somebody's in there.
Standing perfectly in the far end of the room appeared to be another person. For a brief moment, Chris believed someone was standing there watching him. Reacting quickly, he drew his handgun before cautiously stepping back into the bathroom to investigate. After walking back in the bathroom, he realized it wasn't a person at all.
What the fuck? Oh, it's a fucking toy. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me.
It was a life-size mannequin that someone had deliberately positioned inside the bathroom, most likely there to scare anyone exploring the building. What makes the moment even stranger is what happened just beforehand. Just as Chris first noticed it, the mannequin unexpectedly tipped forward. The most likely explanation for this is that the vibrations or sound waves inside the room were enough to knock it over in exactly the wrong moment. For most people, that would have been enough to leave immediately. Chris, however, simply checked the rest of the bathroom to make sure nobody else was hiding inside before continuing with the exploration as if nothing happened. Eventually, Chris decided to climb onto the roof. Considering the conditions of the school, it was easily one of the riskiest parts of the night. An old abandoned roof can become dangerously unstable over time, and even a single weak section could collapse without warning. Thankfully, he managed to make it down safely, but his night was far from over. Not long afterwards, another strange sound echoed through the building. As Chris pointed his camera towards the doorway across the classroom, something appeared to move behind it. It was only visible for a moment, but it looked enough like a person that Chris immediately stopped what he was doing.
Still here. I wonder what's in it. Oh shit.
Not only had he already seen another flashlight earlier in the night, but now it felt like someone could actually be following him through the building. Once again, Chris drew his handgun and carefully searched the nearby rooms. Despite checking the area, he found no one. He admitted the night had gone on long enough and decided it was finally time to leave. Even getting out of the school wasn't straightforward. While trying to find the exit, the sound of footsteps suddenly echoed from the staircase directly above him.
place is crazy. I remember the last time I explored it. Oh shit. Hello? Hello? What the fuck? Okay, I know I heard somebody coming down these stairs. I'm out.
The footsteps were clear enough that Chris immediately ran upstairs and called out, hoping whoever it was would answer. However, once again, nobody responded. The building fell completely silent. Whether it was another explorer deliberately avoiding him, someone living inside the abandoned school, or simply sounds carrying through the old structure was never confirmed. Fortunately, Chris managed to leave the school without ever coming face to face with whoever else may have been inside. Despite experiences like this, he continues to upload videos exploring abandoned locations across the United States, often visiting places that most people wouldn't even consider entering, especially alone in the middle of the night. Most abandoned houses have one thing in common. By the time urban explorers find them, they've usually been stripped of anything valuable. Furniture is gone, personal belongings have been stolen, and whatever remains is often destroyed by vandals or squatters. But in February of 2020, urban explorer Rhythm Ryder came across a house that was completely different. Alongside his exploration partner Zay Clark, he visited an abandoned home in an undisclosed location. According to Rhythm, the property had once belonged to an elderly woman who had sadly passed away. Unlike most abandoned homes, almost everything inside had been left exactly where it was. As they walked through the house, they found beautifully arranged tableware, alongside silverware, decorative tapestries, and even a fully stocked bar. It felt less like an abandoned building and more like someone had simply walked out one day and never returned. Looking around, they also found calendars that suggest the house had only been empty since around August of 2018. At first glance, it seemed like a fascinating time capsule, but only a few minutes into the exploration, the mood changed completely. While walking through the hallway, the pair noticed something on the floor that immediately caught their attention. Next to an old walking frame was a large dark stain. Rhythm quickly realized what they were looking at. It appeared to be a body stain. Based on where the walker had been left, he believed an elderly woman may have suffered a serious fall while trying to move through the house.
I'm going to show you something that you've probably never seen before in a video. I've never come across it. I've always been worried about something like this happening. And then it did. When we walked in here, we took a few steps in the door and we saw this on the ground. Now, for those who can't figure that, figure out what that is a body stain. And you can see right there, there's a walker. So, unfortunately, it seems that the woman who had lived here had taken a bad fall, landed on the floor, and that's where she expired, unfortunately.
Unable to get back up or call for help, it's believed she passed away where she fell. Over time, her body decomposed before she was eventually discovered, leaving behind the stain that could still be seen on the floor. The discovery had a noticeable impact on both explorers. According to Rhythm, they spent around 20 minutes deciding whether they should continue filming at all. In the end, they chose to keep on recording, not for shock value, but because they felt the woman's story deserved to be told. He also used the moment to remind viewers how important it is to regularly check in on elderly family members, friends, and neighbours. No one knows exactly how long the woman had been lying there before she was found. As heartbreaking as the discovery was, the rest of the house only made the story even sadder. There were signs that family members had returned after her death and sorted through some of her belongings, but for the most part, the house had been left almost exactly as it was. Bathroom supplies were still neatly sorted away. Furniture remained in place, and many personal belongings hadn't been touched at all. Walking through the rooms, it was easy to imagine the life she had once lived there. From the decorations throughout the home, it seemed like she and her husband had taken pride in their house. The care that had gone into furnishing and decorating the house suggested they were outgoing people who had built a comfortable life together over many years. That contrast is what makes the footage so difficult to watch. On one hand, it's a beautifully preserved home that offers a rare glimpse into someone's life. On the other, every room is a reminder of the tragic way that life came to an end. Even years later, the video continues to stand out, not because of ghosts or unexplained events, but because of how real it feels. It serves as a reminder that loneliness can have devastating consequences, especially for elderly people living on their own. Sometimes a simple phone call or visit can make more of a difference than people realise. Since uploading the video in 2020, Rhythm Rider has never returned to the property, leaving this as the only documented look inside the house and the heartbreaking story it tells.